Okay, this is gonna suck, but I don't see very many of these, sadly. So this will be a Eddie X male listener. And it's sadly gonna suck. But I don't have a script, so it's gonna be very chaotic. So I'm just gonna start. Okay, so this was like 2 hours before school ended, and you were the quiet kid, and you weren't known for just being, you weren't very known. But, okay, so you were walking around school, doing what you do. So, out of nowhere, you hear a bunch of, yelling. It sounds like there's a full-on either, a scream-out match or a full-on fight. So you walk to the courtyard, and you see a full-on, practically riot. There's at least 4 fights going on, and you're just like, what the heck? And so you look around, see who's actually fighting, and you see Eddie and Jason full on in the middle of fighting. You know they at least have a bloody nose. I mean, not bloody nose, broken nose. So you're just like, well, I gotta get Eddie out of this. So you go somehow, you're weaving through people, and you get to Eddie and Jason's little area fighting, and you stop a punch that was going for Eddie's face, and you, push Jason away, not push him, but you're just, you move him away. I cannot talk. Okay. So, then you go over to Eddie, and you make sure he's not, seriously injured, and you, out of nowhere, start hearing, Jason start cussing you out, and then out of nowhere, you feel a bag or something hit the back of your head, and you, fall to the ground, but you caught yourself where you didn't hurt your nose, or your face. But, you go to see if it's, bleeding, and you have, blood's coming down your head. You're like, well, shit. So, you get up, you get ready to fight, and then all of a sudden you hear are the teachers yelling, and you feel Eddie grab the back of your shirt and just start running. And once Eddie stops running, you finally realize where you are. You're at the bench. So you sit down. You just got hurt really bad, you're pretty sure. So you sit down, you're dizzy, you lost at least a pint of blood. Eddie starts just laughing so much, and you, let out a chuckle, because you're like, well, that was fun, I guess. And you start feeling a little more dizzy, because, your nose is bleeding, and the back of your head is bleeding a little bit, too. And Eddie sees that, and he's like, are you okay? I saw you get hit in the back of the head with, his bag, Jason's bag. And you're like, well, I don't really know. So he's like, here, let me help you. And you're like, oh, okay. Kind of embarrassed, I guess. Fuck. So yeah, he, checks out, the back of your head, and he says you're okay. It's just, a little cut. So you two sit there, and he sits next to you on the bench, and you two just start talking and just having fun. You guys haven't talked in a while because of, I guess exams are coming up. But Eddie starts just staring at you, just, staring, as if it's a staring contest, but not a staring contest, I guess. Oh my god. I don't know how to talk. So you like stare back, and a couple minutes go by, and you have, if it was a staring contest, you have lost multiple times because you can't keep like staring. And so you're just like, is this a staring contest? And he bursts out laughing because he thinks it's funny. Then he starts talking and talking and talking about like how his life's been, I guess. Yeah, his life's been. And you kind of zone out because you're like, you like the way he moves and like his eyes and like how happy he is talking about whatever he's talking about. So you like zone out and being a simp, like the simp you are. And then all of a sudden, he's like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. And you're like, oh, it's fine. Because you just snapped out of, like, whatever you were in, like a trance. And he's like, oh, did you even hear what I said? You're like, no, I didn't. He says, oh, well, good. And then then you two just, like, fall into, like, a, comfortable silence, but slightly awkward silence. I don't know at this point. So, you two both have a crush on each other. You thought he was straight because Chrissy? Y'all know what I mean. So you were like, well, I don't get it. He doesn't love me back. And out of nowhere, you're like, well, I guess I could confess to him to get it off my chest. So you're like, hey, Eddie, I have something to tell you. And he, like, looks at you and he's like, oh, what is it? And, like, he smiles as he does it, and it gets you flustered because you be a simp, as I said. And you're like, well, I kind of like someone. And he's like, ooh, who is it? Like, he turns straight into a gossip person, like, who is it? And you're like, well, it's like a guy. And he is like, oh, that's cool. Like, he's supportive about it, but you don't know if it's like, supportive to the point that he is gay, or he's just super supportive. Shit, I had to take a break. My brain is everywhere today. So he's like, oh, who is it? And you're like feeling nervous at this point because you're about to tell him that you have a crush on him. So you are like, well, it's someone that I'm really close to. Like, you're hinting at it because you're scared that he'll be like, oh my god, you like me? That's disgusting. So he's like, oh, can you just tell me maybe where I don't have to guess because I'm not the best at guessing games. So you're like, uh-oh, I have to hurry this up. Okay, so you're like, well, promise not to, like, not be my friend afterwards. And he's like, he's like, yeah, I promise, I'll still be your friend. And at this point in his mind, he is, like, nervous that you'll say, like, someone else because he has a crush on you. He's in love with you. So he's like nervous. His brain is like scattered. Like, please be me. So you finally just say, you mumble, barely audible, I like you, Eddie. So you can barely hear that. Eddie can barely hear that. So much that he has to lean in a little bit that he can just barely hear it. And he like sits up straight again, I guess. Yeah, he sits up straight again, and he just smiles like as if he just got the best news of his life, because he just did. He's happy. He's content with life. And when you look up, you're just like, does he hate me now? And you just see how much he's smiling, and he just hugs you as tight as possible. And that accidentally calls you both to fall off the bench, and you're both just laughing on the ground. He's still hugging you, of course. So y'all just laugh like that for a couple minutes, and then you both sit up, and and then you both just, you asked him how, he asked you how long you've liked him, and you said, well, for like a couple months, aka like 9 months, and he's like, oh, I liked you ever since I like first saw you. And you just smile, like, you smile because you're so happy that this is like a good day, even though you got a bloody nose. But you're just happy. And after everything, you guys stand up, he fixes up your nose, and you fix his, like, face up, because he got punched a lot, we're just gonna say that. You both head back to school. It's like right after the hour you guys left, so you guys catch the bell just in time, and it's like lunchtime, and you guys go sit at the table and have a good rest of the day. And that's it for this one, I guess. Have a good day.